Today's daf is Maseches Nazir Daf Nun Zayin. We're at the Mishnah, 5 lines from the bottom, Daf Nun Vav Beis. Zok the Heilige Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Kiva. Says Rabbi Kiva, Danti Lefnei Rabbi Lezer. I made a kal v'chomer in front of Rabbi Lezer, and I said, Ma im etzem kisa'ira, madach, if the shear of etzem kisa'ira, there's a shear of etzem kisa'ira, of a bone that's a shear of a sa'ira that is metame, shadina, that it has, it's a kula digadin, she'eni metame adam, it's not metame a person that's with, etzem kisa'ira is not metame b'oil. Somebody has a shear of bone, etzem kisa'ira that's in an oil, it's not metame v'tumas oil. So this is the kal v'chomer that Rabbi Kiva said. Rabbi Kiva said from Rabbi Lezer. So malach etzem kisa'ira is not metame v'tumas oil, and still hanaz megaleach amagoyim asai. A nazir is megaleach if he touches or he carries a shear of etzem kisa'ira, and it soises in his ears, and he has to megaleach his hair, like we saw before in Daf Yomi. Revius dam, which is more chamer because it's metame ba'oil, revius dam, right? Metame ba'oil. Isn't it kal v'chomer that nazir should megaleach on it? And more than that, Zakar Rabbi Kiva. Amar Ali said, Amar Ali, Rabbi Lezer told me, Kiva saying, Rabbi Lezer told me, Maza Akiva. What is it that you're saying? Ain't done in kal, kan, mi kal v'chomer. We're not down this kal v'chomer. But he didn't explain why. He just said you can't make kal v'chomer. Ukshabasi v'hertzeisi, when I came and I told us over Dvarim l'fnei Rishua, I said this whole story over in front of Rishua. Amar Li, so Rishua told me, Rabbi Kiva speaking, that Yafa Amarta, the kal v'chomer you said is a good kal v'chomer. Ella, Kain Amru, this is what the Chacham said, that this din and another megaleach and etzem kasayra is halacha l'meshim Sinai. And you're not done a kal v'chomer from halacha l'meshim Sinai. So therefore you can't learn out from here that another megaleach on magamasa of a revius dam. So that's what Rabbi Shua told Rabbi Kiva. You know why it's not a kal v'chomer? He said, be'etzem it is a good kal v'chomer. So Yafa Marta, the kal v'chomer is not makes sense. But because the din of etzem kisa'ira, that is metame, is halacha l'meshim Sinai, that the din of another is megaleach on etzem kisa'ira, is halacha l'meshim Sinai, memela, you cannot learn out make a kal v'chomer from something that's halacha l'meshim Sinai. That's what Rabbi Shua says. Zakte Gemara. So we learned in the Mishnah that according to Rabbi Kiva, you can learn out of Naz Megaleach on Magar of Revius Dam, that's Chamer, that's Matama Ba'ayel, from a Kal V'chomer, from the fact that Naz Megaleach on Magar of Etzem Kesayra, which is more Kal, and it's not Matama Ba'ayel. So on that, Rabbi Shua told him that you can't learn out one from another because you can't learn out Kal V'chomer from Lachal Meshmi Sinai. So Zakte Gemara, Yibayelu. The Gemara is Misopik in the explanation of Mishnah. Is this that another is megaleach on maga of etzem kisa'ira? That's learned out from Allah L'mashim Sinai. Or revius dam, Rabbi Kiva is learning out from etzem kisa'ira with a kal v'chomer. The ein danin, and this that they told him ein danin revius dam with kal v'chomer from Allah L'mashim Sinai. Seems like the pasuk shot. Like Dilma. Or maybe another tzad, the revius dam is matama ba'oil, is learned down from Allah Meshmi Sinai. And etzem kisa'oira, Rabbi Kiva was trying to learn out in a kal v'chomer to revius dam. Since it's chomer as matama ba'oil, so apparently the second side is that the etzem kisa'oira, Rabbi Kiva was learning out kal v'chomer to revius dam. Revius dam should be a nazir shem galeach in it, and the Gemara said, "Einan in kal v'chomer ma'alacha," because the chumrah that's learned by revius dam is halacha mishmah Sinai, we merely can't learn anything out. The Zakti Gemara Tashma, I'll bring you raya etzem kasera halacha. You see, etzem kasera is a halacha mishmah Sinai, and revius dam is kal v'chomer. The ain't done a kal v'chomer halacha. So you see clear over there that that's in Kesera is halacha mishmah Sinai. So Hadran halach koyin gadol. Okay, here's a new mission, a new parak. The 8th parak, parak shnei nazirim. So we saw in the last prakim that a nazir that becomes tummy or tumas maze, the halacha is it's soiser naziris. and he has to count 7 days. He has to spritz from dam from the Efer Apara, from the Efer Paraduma on the 3rd day, and Yom HaShvi, and he becomes tar, and then he's toivel on the 7th day, and he's megaleach, and the next day, the 8th day, he brings his karbanis on his tumah. That's how it works. That's the process. And he counts the Nun Naziris. At the end of that Nun Naziris, he brings a carbon on his Naziris of Tahira. Then he's chayzer and he's megaleach, and then he's mutter and drink wine. So the Mishnah is going to discuss here how Nazirim have to be noig by taglachas and karbanis when there's a suffix if they became tamei. So let's see what the Mishnah is talking about. Shnei Nazirim she'amar lehen achad. If you have 2 Nazirim, when a person told them, Ra'isi echad mikem shenitma. So a guy came up to 2 Nazirim and said, one of you guys became tamei. What's the halacha? Eini yedei eizim mikem. The guy says, I don't know which one. So halacha is that he's neman to be machzik them as suffix tameim, and they have to wait till the end of their days in Naziris. Megalchin, they both have to cut their hair. Umevian carbon tuma, and the b'shutvis have to bring a carbon tuma that a nazir brings when he becomes tamei, after he becomes tar from his tuma, which is a chatas ha'oif, a oilas ha'oif, and a keves la'asham. Ve carbon taira, and they also bring a carbon taira, which a nazir is chayiv when he finishes his naziris of taira, which is a keves ta'oila, and a kifsal achatas and a ayal shlam. It's different karbanis. And so they bring both of those sets of karbanis, and they make a tanai between themselves, va'omer, and each guy tells his friend, iman nihu tamei, if I'm the one that's tamei, that guy told us one of us is tamei, we don't know who, so he tells his friend, iman nihu tamei, and you're the Torah one, then carbon tuma shalit, and this carbon tuma will bring is mine, and be makrin on my name. The carbon tahira shalcha, and the carbon tahira is for you. V'maniu tar, and if I'm the one that's tamei, and you're the one that's tar, and you're the one that's tamei, then carbon tahira shali, then the carbon tahira is mine. The carbon tuma shalcha, and the carbon tuma should be hooked up on your name, for your name. The seifrin shloishim yom, and halacha is that each have to both count on additional 30 days because you have a suffix. So maybe the naziris that finished till now is naziris tuma. Maybe it was Seister Nazir, so it became Tamei, so now you have to count the full 30 days. Because the first days of Naziris that they counted does not count for Yemei Naziris, because the Pasuk said in the middle of the paragraph above, Pasuk Days, that the first days they fall away. So come to each one, and a suffix that maybe now this is really his Naziris, this new start of a Naziris. Umevi and carbon tahira. At the end of the new tahira of Naziris, they bring carbon tahira on top of the one that they brought b'shutvis the first time, and then they make another tanai and they say va'omer. Each guy tells his friend, "Nihu atame." If I'm the tamei, carbon tuma, that the makar of after the first Naziris shali haya shali. The carbon tahira that we makar of then shalcha, v'zeh, and this that we're bringing now carbon taira, carbon tarasi. This is my carbon tarasi because before I was tamei the last time around. And he says, "V'manihu hatar." If I was the one that was tar the first time around, we counted Naziris. Then carbon tahira that we did in that Naziris, the first one, shali was mine, but carbon tahira was yours. V'zeh. And this carbon tahira that we're bringing now should be carbon tarascha. This one now, it's your turn to get carbon tahira, and I don't get the carbon tuma because he's saying he got it now. Zok the Gemara, Katani Shnei Nazirim Sha'amar Lahem. The Mishnah says that 2 Nazirim that one person told them, Re'isi Echem Kam Shenitma, many days, and I don't know which one. And the halacha is that they're becheska suffik tuma. Fact Gemara about my why they becheska suffik tuma. Kol sfek tuma versus ayachid mehechin filan. Any suffik tuma that gets born versus ayachid, that means it comes up a versus ayachid. Where do you learn it out from? That a suffix is tuma, is tamei. The halacha is suffik tuma versus ayachid is tamei. Where do you learn it out from? So Fact Gemara misaita. You learn it out from a saita that's nistera, and she was miyach with somebody else. So we learn out from Saita, Safek Tamei B'Shas Yachid is Tamei. Ma Saita Boil V'Nevelis, the only person that was there in time of the Stira and the Miyachid is Boil V'Nevelis, which is two people. Af Kol Safek Tamei B'Shas Yachid, that becomes Tamei, is Dafka going to Ikabei Trey. There's two people in that Rishus at the time that the Safek came about. But the Gemara, over here in our Mishnah, Shnei Nazirim V'Hai Dekoy Gabein. Over here, you have a two Nazirim, and this third person that's telling them one of you became Tamei. So Hatlasa is three people, it's not two. So how is it comparable to the din of Safek Tamei B'Shas Yachid, which you learn on Sait, which is only two people? So Zok the Gemara, Havle Safek Tamei B'Shas Rabim. The Chayot Safek Tamei B'Shas Rabim. Chol Safek Tamei B'Shas Rabim. What's the halacha? Sfeikei tar. Halacha is Safek Tamei B'Shas Rabim is tar, not Tamei like B'Shas Yachid. So why does the Mishnah say that two Nazirim B'Cheska Safek Tamei? What's Pshat? Zok the Gemara, Rabbi Rav Huna, says Rabbi Rav Huna, the Mishnah is talking about Ba'omer, that the third person says, Ra'isi Tumash and Nizruka B'nechem. I saw, he's not saying that I was there when it happened, he's saying I saw a tumah that was thrown in to where you guys were. But I don't know who touched it. But it's not talking about he was actually standing there. So because he's standing far away, so it was just two people there, and now it has a din. Dr. Rabbi Rav Huna, like a regular Safek Tamei B'Shas Yachid, that's Sfeikei Tamei. So Amar Ravashi brings a riot to this teretz. Daikanami from the Lashon and Mishnah, you can daik like this teretz that is talking about that the guy that said he saw was standing far away. Diktani ve'ini adezim mekem, because it says he does not know which one of them became Tamei. It's mashma that he never knew and he wasn't standing there, because if he was there and he forgot, then he shouldn't have said any idea. I should have just said shachachti, I forgot. Shema Mina. So Yitakasi from Lashon Mishnah is talking about he was not actually there. He was just far away and he saw it get thrown in there. Zakting Amar Avaita. The Mishnah said, two Nazirim, that a guy told, a third person told them, he doesn't know which one. The Mishnah said, they have to bring a carbon taira and a carbon tuma, and they make tanom with each other. So we learn out from this that they both have to migaleach and to count a new Naziris, and then be megaleich a second time after the second Naziris. Frak the Gemara on the second taglachas, which is mutal on them achmas safek. V'amai, why is it mutal for them to do a second taglachas? Domo lav tameini nun. Maybe they're not tamei. Meaning, in other words, maybe each one, each one's acting Gemara is a suffix. Maybe he wasn't tamei, right? So the chayr is already yotzi the chayvus taglachas the first time around, and it's sad that he wasn't tamei the first time. He was yotzi taglachas the first time. So how could he be malech a second time like a regular din Nazir? L'chayra, maybe he's not a Nazir and he's not mechuyivim taglachas at all. V'ka'aved akafa, and he's being over isar kafa. Because how does a Nazir have to cut his hair? He doesn't just take a regular haircut and leave his pace. A Nazir has to cut off everything on his entire hair, including the pace. So, for the Gemara, if it's only a suffix that is mechuyev to do it, how could he do it? How could he do it misafek? He's over on isar kafas. Isar l'sakiv pas roishchiv, not on the pace. It's deraisa. Zok the Gemara, Amar Shmuel, that the Mishnah said is not talking about a man. It's talking about a be'isha. So about an isha that becomes a nazirish. Doesn't have isar cutting of the pace. No, it's our kafas aroish v'katan. Could also be talking about a katan that reached 12 years old. That the halacha is that a katan, if he knows l'shem yinadar, means if he knows what he's talking about, he says in dharma akayim, so maybe he can kalm on naziris. But if he did not reach the age of mitzvahs, then he's not b'chlal of the azhara of l'sakifu. So he could be 12 years old, where he doesn't have the isser yet. But however, his Nadarim could be a neder if he knows what he's doing, if he knows l'shem yinadar. So that would be another case where you could say it's talking about either isha or katan. Fracting Gemara of a lukma begadol. Why didn't Shmuel say the Mishnah is talking about a gadol? The hakafas kol roish lo yishma hakafa, and the reason why hakafa will be mutter is because the whole isser of cutting off the payas is only if you just cut off the payas. The guy takes a fade just around the payas area. But if a guy cuts the whole head with the payas, maybe it's not a isser. That's what it means. A kafa is kol reish lishma kafa. And since Shmuel did not say that I is talking about that, Shema Mina, you see Zak the Gemara Ksavar Shmuel kafa is kol reish ma kafa. You see Shmuel holds that you're over on Galuach even if you cut off your whole hair with the payas. And it does not hold a kafa is kol reish lishma kafa. Shma kafa. Zak the Gemara weiter. Marzurta says, Masin Allah Shmai to Shmuel, he learns this Shmai to Shmuel, this Tarot to Shmuel, it says, as that time is talking about Ish and a Kat, and a Seifa, it's going on a Seifa in the Mishnah Daf and Testament base. It says, a Nazir Shahaya Tameh B'Safik, a Muchlet B'Safik, a Nazir that was Tameh B'Safik, and is Muchlet B'Safik, the halacha is, Oichel B'Kachim, La'achar Shishin Yoyis, let he catch him after 60 days, Umegaleach Abar Teklachas, and he takes 4 haircuts. Over there also, the reason why it takes 4 haircuts is because of a suffix. That's why he's been galeach a lot of times. So, correcting Amara about Ka'avid HaKafa, L'chari is over there, and we ask the same Shaila, is over in Israel, the Skill Bas Reishchem. Amar Shmuel, Be'isha, V'katan. You could say it's talking about Isha and Katan, I'm saying Teretz here. So, some learned, Shmuel said this Teretz on the mission later on, Daf and Test. Zakting Amara Baiter. Amara is going to bring other additional halachas in the dinim of HaKafa, HaKafa Sarosh. Amar Rav Huna says, if an older person, a gadol, cuts off the payas of a katan, what's the halacha? Harei chayiv, he's chayiv malchus. Why? Because there's a lav in the Torah, sakifu pa'as reishchem. And from the word pa'as, we learn out that the tzivu is not to cut off even someone else's payas. And we learn out even a payas of a katan, it's not a bar chiyuva. Amar le Rav Ada bar Hava Rav Huna. Rav Hava told Rav Huna that according to you that a gadol is not allowed to be megaleach a payas of a katan, v'didach. So he told him, your katanim ma megalech leid. Who gives him haircuts? Means who gives him haircuts that cut off all the hair on the head? The charya iver is he's saying Amar lei. So Rav Huna told him, chayva. You know who gives them haircuts? My wife. Her name is Chayva. She's the one that's megaleach the kids. She gives the kids haircuts. Why? Because Isha is not mitzvah on the Israel Tzakifu of Hakafa, and she gave the kids haircuts. If the man did it, he would be over an Isser. We learn it from Baz. So Rav Ada told him, Tikberinun Chayva Levanel. He was saying, like, does your wife want to get punished on this avera with burying her children? Because like being makif somebody doesn't say a chiluk between an ish and an isha. And he was trying to tell him that your wife is also not allowed to be megaleach somebody that even the katan's here, even the katan's payas. So Rav Ada held, according to Shittas Rav Huna, that an ish is not allowed to cut off the pace of a katan, so Ibazoi, his wife, is over on Isra Kafa. Zakta Gemara that Taka happened, and unfortunately, Kul Shneider of Ada Bar Hava Leikayim Leizala Rav Huna. All the years Ada Bar Hava was alive, the children of Huna did not survive. They all died. Because of what Rav Ada Bar Hava says, even though he wasn't mischaven to curse him that his kids should die, but that's what happened. So Zakta Gemara Kum Tois. Now Rav Ada Bar Hava and Rav Huna argued in 2 halachas. One is taking off the pace of a katan, that according to Rav Huna Yechayev and according to Rav Ada Yepater. 2, Legabi, a woman that cuts off the pace of a man, according to Rav Ada Yechayev and according to Rav Huna Yepater. So the Gemara now is going to explain what's the reason of the machlekes. So the Gemara Michti. Tarvayu Sfira Kavas Kalaresh Ma'akava. They both hold that if you cut off all the hair on the head, including the pace, there is Irsa of Akafa. Because in the case of Rav Huna, they cut off the little kids, the katanim, they cut off all the hair on the head, and still they had their shilas if they're allowed to do it. So you can't say that the machlekes between Rav Huna or Rav Ada Bar Hava was a guy with kafs kol harosh. It wasn't a shilas. So Micah Mifleki. So it was like, what was the svar of the machlekes? It's like the Gemara of Huna that was Mater's wife to cut off his katanims Payas Savar he held, because it says in Parak Yates Bas Chavzayim Vayikor Leskiv Pas Rishon L'Shas Sashus Eis Pasik Hanecha. So the Torah he held, the Torah is Makash the Isra Kafa, and the Isra Shchasa one to another to teach you a Dafka Kol Sheish L'Ashchasa. Dafka, somebody that's Muzar only Sashchas Eis Pasik Hanecha, which is a man Yesh Kafa. He's Muzar on Akiva and taking off somebody else's pace. Aninashi. And he and Rav Huna held that these ladies hold less than Ashchas, and they're not Moser on the Isra of Ashchas Zaken. So Mela less than Nam Bakafar, they also do not have. He held that a Ish does not have the Isra of cutting off the pace of a katan. Sai Gadol, Sai katan. Rada Barahava Sabar Zakti Gemara. What did Rada Barahava hold? He held from the fact that the Torah says L'Sakifu, we learn out that Echad HaMakif, the Echad HaNikif. Sai, if somebody cuts off someone else's pays, and Sai that somebody is sitting in a barber's chair and he lets somebody cut off his pays, but mashma, both of them are over on the lav, on the iser. The itgash makaf nikif, and the Torah is makaf nikif. What is the Torah trying to teach you there? Kol heicha the nikif mechayiv. Whenever the nikif is chayiv in this mitzvah, the makif is also chayiv, not to also mechayiv, not to cut off the pace. For high katan, and this katan, hoyel v'hu gufe, since he himself was lavar oinshenu the mechayev, he did not reach the age of our mitzvah in order to mechayev his mitzvah. So therefore, makaf nami le mechayev. Therefore, the person that will be cutting off his hair is also not mitzvah, and therefore, Rav Adar Barahava held that it's mutter for a man to cut off the pace of a katan. And it's also for Isha to Yamakav a Gadol, because the Isser, because someone that he held that somebody has a Isser to Yamakav himself, even somebody else is not allowed to Yamakav him. The Isser goes the Isser goes against anyone. He's not allowed to cut off himself, and he's not allowed to have somebody else do it. But if Huna argued and he held that Isha is allowed to be Yamakav somebody that has the Isser Akafa, and Meidach Yisa he answered a man to makav a katan because he held that you're not makif to nikif, not like Rav Adar Barahava.